Any time spent with God and in His Word with the intention of getting closer to God or being conformed to the image of Jesus is time well spent. That being said, there are good ways of reading the Bible and there are better ways of reading the Bible. The good ways of reading the Bible will produce limited fruit, while the better ways are going to produce more fruit. What I'm going to talk about here are the different ways that are good to read the Bible but are going to produce limited fruit. The first one that I'd like to talk about is how we read through the whole Bible. Now, I want to put a disclaimer here. I believe every single person on planet Earth should read through the whole Bible at least one time. And when I'm talking about reading through the Bible here, it's more casually. I'll talk about this later in the next video, but when we read through the whole Bible strategically, that is actually a really amazing way of reading the Bible. But when we read through the whole of the Bible casually, it'll produce fruit, but being strategic about it is going to produce more fruit in your life. The next way is when we read the Bible randomly. This is where I just open up a chapter. I read John chapter 1 today. I read Mark chapter 2 tomorrow. I read a chapter from the book of Genesis the next day. It's just random in nature. Again, like I will do this from time to time as the Lord leads, but the fruit isn't going to be the same as when I read the Bible strategically. The next way is just casually. I do this every night. Before I go to bed, I read 2 chapters of the Bible. I just want to go to bed with the Word of God on my mind. Again, it's a good way to read the Bible. It's just not going to produce as much fruit when we actually get into study and we get into the depth of the Bible like we do when we're reading it strategically. The last way that I would talk about, and this might come to a surprise to a lot of people, is with devotionals. Devotionals are fine, there's nothing wrong with devotionals, but they're going to produce limited fruit. And the reason that they're going to produce limited fruit is because it's somebody else's take on what is important for that day in your life, rather than actually engaging with God and being strategic about what that looks like in our lives. I'll talk about that a little bit more here in a bit. My argument here is that there's a better way of reading the Bible and we can be strategic about it. And that's what I'm going to cover in the next video.